Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Senior Bitches, where we celebrate women over 50 who are crushing it in the universe. And we are doing something really, really radical. We're daring to age on our own terms. I mean, talk about crazy talk. We're embracing it, we're exploring it, and we are in it. Now, today I'm so excited about this guest because she changed my life, and it's true. I've been following her for about a year now, and I'm totally obsessed, not in a stalker way, but a bit obsessed by her energy and her aesthetic. And her basic premise is every day when we wake up, biatches, we show up for ourselves in some form or another. And how she expresses it, she gets dressed. Now, this sounds like a really simple concept, but actually what happens is it starts to permeate all areas of your life. Okay, so this is how it goes. Check this out. We get up in the morning, we roll out of bed, even though we want to pull up the covers and stay in bed, whether we're married, single, working from home, divorced, whatever the hell is going on in our life, whether we're 10 pounds, 20 pounds away from our ideal weight, whether we don't feel good, we get dressed. We make it a ceremony. We put on a great pair of pants, sweet shoes, a bit of makeup, great earrings, a cute bag, and we roll it out into the world like the rock stars that we are. Now, the other day I had to go to the grocery store and I followed her rules. I put on like trousers, like male trousers, a little black cashmere sweater. I pulled my hair back into a bun, pearl earrings, totally channeled Jackie O. I put on a big gray oversized coat, a fabulous wrap, and I rolled out into the world like the badass bitch that I am.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it made me feel anything was possible, Caroline. Actually, it even altered my plans. I reached out to a friend of mine and we went for a ladies' lunch. We had a glass of wine. We did world dominance and came up with a business idea. Okay. And
Hell yeah.
I owe this new attitude all to my guest today. To me, she is pure joy. So I'm going to call the podcast, Pure Joy. She is navigating the landscape one outfit at a time, changing the way as women we look at ourselves. And I know she's resonating because, and this is true, you have following from all over the world, my friends in France,
Oh,
London, Dubai, Bali,
no,
what the fuck with Bali?
that's crazy.
California and Canada follow you from the chicest to the most casual. So it is my pleasure to
Oh,
welcome the effervescent and incredibly inclusive Caroline Baudino to
I
Senior
love
Bitches.
you. Thank you
We
so
love
much.
you. We
Thank
love
you so much.
you.
First of all, I just want to say that introduction. I am not only honored, like truly honored, like flattered. There is nothing like a female community, a strong female community to lift you up, to support you. And you know what? It is so incredible to see that I feel like women are coming back together and we're starting to notice that we're stronger together. And just getting to be on here, I am honored. Thank you so much for your love and support. Genuinely, I'm so excited to be
Okay.
here.
We're thrilled to have you. And it's so funny, Caroline, because I interviewed a friend of mine yesterday who's like, I think a Grammy Award winning songwriter.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, my producer will attest to this. She's a huge presence in the entertainment industry. And she said when she was coming up the ranks, women weren't supporting each other. The men were actually nicer to her in the music business. So I'm all about community. This is what this whole show is about, bringing women from all over the world to connect, share our tips, share our secrets, and talk about this aging process and actually
Absolutely.
make it a positive and not a pejorative, right? Isn't that the point?
Absolutely. I just don't understand when it became, I don't know when we normalized unhappiness. I'm not sure when we normalized looking like shit. I don't know when we normalized being a hot mess. Like, I don't know
Yes.
when we thought sexy was just being a disaster. Like, when we started, like, when it became cool to like hate your husband, hate your life, like everything sucks and you're just miserable for the rest of your life and you just shop and drink and take Xanax. Like, that
It
became,
sounds fabulous. And
I
I
mean,
can't tell you how many people I know like that.
and you know, and I'm not bagging.
Yeah.
Listen, we all survival is a thing. I think it's a real thing for women. I think what we are the pressure that we're under, you know, why I think we lose ourselves because I think it is we are under a tremendous amount of pressure to not only serve everyone but also abide by everyone's rules, which doesn't really actually make sense. So we're sitting here like breaking our asses for everyone, and then we have nothing left over for us, and then we wonder why we feel lost. We wonder why we let ourselves go, why we look like shit, and why we don't recognize ourselves anymore in the mirror. Because yeah,
Yeah.
we're bogged down and we've forgotten how to take care of ourselves. We have forgotten how to support each other, how to help each other out. I feel like women have become more like you're embarrassed to have people over. You're not inviting anyone over for coffee anymore. Everything is like a show off and we have to be at the restaurant and have to be here. And like we've lost, I feel like community. I feel like we've
Yeah,
lost sharing and being honest with each other. And I feel like that's the only way you actually lift each other up is like, kind of seeing the reality of what's going on and then helping each other lift each other up because being a woman is hard. Being married
it's
is hard. Having kids is fucking hard. And aging is hard.
all of it. I'm single, aging with kids, empty nester, and my house right now today is closing. My house that I bought after
Wow.
my divorce, I bought it on my own after I
Good for
divorced
you.
my first
Good
and
for you.
only husband, thank God. And I've owned it for 15 years and it's closing today. And
I am
I'm a little
so happy for you.
nervous, but it's a
No,
whole new chapter for me. And
change is
I
good.
always, change is awesome. And by the way, it's Darwinism, it's the world. We have
Yep.
to learn to adapt every second of life and, embrace what's coming at us, like the change that is coming at us. And I'm all about that. It's just the
Especially
most
with, I think it's
important
so
thing.
empowering because I think women forget that we're not starting from scratch. I think we
Yeah,
forget what experience is, what wisdom is, what knowledge is. And I feel like, it is cool to be smart. It is cool to know where your finances are. It is cool to own your own house. Like it is cool to not depend on a man. Like it is cool to know, like, God forbid something happens, you can take care of yourself. Like what gives you power, what makes you feel strong is knowing, right? Having that knowledge, that power, that experience. And that's why it fascinates me that women are so scared of aging and why
yeah,
we've made this like 50 taboo, like this old golden girls, like your grandmas. And I'm like, all my friends are fucking hot, like hot as
yeah,
hell, killing it, starting businesses. You know what I mean? Like if anything, the wives were actually all the ones making the money, and the husbands are actually more at home, which is fascinating. Like I feel like tables are really turning, and I think women are really starting to tap in that it's not over for us, that we're actually just getting started, especially the empty nesters.
yeah, I know. And when is it a pejorative that you're a senior, a fucking senior? When did that become like
Like when did 55
detrimental?
become senior? Like
I
what?
no, all over the world, like there's different thresholds for what a senior is. So I came up with this concept, Caroline, when I was in
Tell
Rome
me.
last year, having a nervous breakdown, and a friend of mine, we were having lunch by the Palazzo Farnese, and I was telling her I was fascinated with aging, and I wanted to create a community of women and discuss this because I agree. I think a switch goes on or it goes off, and when we start moving towards this, unfortunately, we do leave some of the men behind because
Yeah.
this is a growth spurt for us. And we were sitting down for lunch, and she said to me, "Senior, we should flip that on its head because we're senior citizens. I'm 61,
That's crazy.
61
You
years
look
old."
freaking amazing.
Well, thank you. And my friend who is 62, she's on her fourth husband. She runs one of the biggest supermarkets in Europe. I mean, she is just absolutely incredible. And she said, "When did senior become a bad thing?" Like senior, she had a different name
Like,
for it. I
why is
came
it
up with
a
senior
bad word?
bitches
Right. Like, why
because
is that a bad word? Why is aging a bad thing? And like what we're so afraid of rather
I don't
than
know, because
embracing
in
it.
real life, senior means expertise. Senior means you've
Right.
paid your dues. But as a woman, a senior citizen, you might as well just bury yourself in the sand.
You know
That's the
what's funny too?
message that
Wait,
we
Mary Jo too.
get.
And senior usually comes with the utmost respect. And yet with
Exactly.
women, it doesn't. It's like you're kind of like, oh, you're over and done with. Yet in other cultures and other religions and things, yes, it's like senior means the utmost respect. And we don't have that
Absolutely.
anymore. Like we've lost that. And I agree with you because I feel like, that has been more of the conversations that we've been having, especially like when all of this got started, it really was this fascination. I'm like you, I'm like fascinated with aging. And, you see these people who are either 92 dancing, living their best lives. Then you see the ones that are like crippled, sitting in a chair, not moving. And it starts to, having my own parents going through that experience, I started to really was like, it was kind of like just staring at you. And you were like, wait a second, you have choices. There's literally a choice. And it's exactly what you said. You flip it on or you flip it off. You give up or you get up. And that really just became something so simple that I started to look at and think, what am I doing to help myself? What am I doing to prepare? What am I doing, for this aging process to make sure that I'm ensuring my best health, my best mental health, that I'm not burdening my kids, that I'm actually enjoying myself, that I'm actually, I have 20, 30 years, like my kids are going to graduate and I'm not shopping and just drinking every day, as fun as that sounds. I
Yeah.
was like, I am really smart. I was like, I am really capable. I was like, why am I not
Right.
doing anything? Like, really, it was like that, this like light bulb went off of like, what am I doing? I have like 30 to 40 more years if I'm lucky. And am I just going to just sit down and just depend on John and hope to God he doesn't leave me, he doesn't cheat, he doesn't take all of his accomplishments and all of his money with him? Is that just what I'm going to like sit and pray to God and hope and kiss ass and not really give my
Sounds like a
opinion?
really good idea. I would, yeah, just sit around the house and do that all day,
Like,
just to
no,
the heavens, you
right.
know?
Like it
Yeah,
just was
yeah.
like, what are we doing? And I just was like, no, I was like, that's it. I was like, I'm smart, I'm capable, I got this, I know how to do things. I was like, what am I doing? I just remember being like, what are you doing? Get up, like, get up, start getting dressed again, start looking fabulous again, you know, like start living again. And I just remember being like, you got to choose happy. You've got to choose your perspective every single morning. You have a choice every day. And it does that mental choice that you decide, I'm going to look in the mirror. I'm going to remind myself I'm strong, I'm capable, I'm smart. I got this. Let's fucking go. And there's a click in your brain that is very different than walking up to a mirror, looking like shit, feeling disheveled, not being prepared, feeling chaotic, puts you in a bad mood. You kind of feel negative. You probably say something to yourself that you don't like. You're probably like, oh, you look shit. Or you're like, oh God, I have to lose 10 pounds. Or look at that pimple. Like there's something about it and that negatively impacts you. That's what you walk
Right.
out the door with.
And it's all shame. It's a shame we carry around that we're not good enough. Because I was a single mom, so I hear you. When you do the Costco dance, even though Costco, I would have panic attacks because there's too much stuff there. I can't handle it. And I
I
would
mean,
come
you like
home
go
with,
bankrupt. I mean,
I would just
literally
like,
every time.
why do I have like toe warmers? What did I need that for? I live in California, but it would
The
just
bar of gold.
completely,
Who needs a
yeah, like
bar of
what?
gold?
Why am I doing this? And
I know.
number one, I panic in the parking lot. It's a complete, clusterfuck for me. But when you did this hilarious video. I had so many questions for you, but I'm off book. I've got other stuff to ask you. But when you did that video of like, look at my chef, look at my cleaning crew, look at this, look at that. I was like, oh my
My
God, that was
staff.
me. I'm
My
indentured servitude. I have a
yes.
job and I don't get paid a dime. And as a single mom for 20 years,
Oh my God.
and
I don't
it
know how
was
you
sort
do
of,
it, babe.
oh my gosh. I drank. I don't, I mean, I'm off drinking now I never did. I'm talking a lot about drinking lately, but I actually did a show
I know, me
yesterday
too.
and
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
I'm
And
with you
I
though.
put,
I've given it up. So I feel like it's just not healthy. I don't feel as good. It's
yeah,
just,
it's not serving me. And
yes.
we were talking about this last week and that my guest is 9 years sober. But I might go for a year without doing it, but I was, having the odd glass of wine at home
Yes.
too. But we feel shame then, like this is our first and only and most important job, being a mom and trying to do everything perfect. And if we have this self-love and self-care for ourselves, and I don't use those terms lightly, like in a real way, that the truth is, unless we're fully fueled and running the show, if we're not in the headspace that we love ourselves and we care about ourselves and we are the most important person in the room, then everybody else gets second best. It's like this concept that we're, I don't know, programmed or taught that
Well, it
that
is,
we
I
should
feel like,
have worth,
right. And
huge
I always
worth.
say, it's something that's interesting. You're just saying that because it is something about, and I talk about it a lot, the oxygen mask on first. Because I think
Right,
we, as women, the guilt that we feel, the pressure that we feel, the things that we're trying to live up to, right? To be that perfect mom. I remember just always, I was out every weekend, like at the zoo, at the gymboree, like whether I liked it or not, volunteering every day, everywhere where I hated it, but I was there trying to be the perfect mom. And again, it was like I was actually sucking the life out of myself, pouring this energy into everybody else, into all these things that didn't serve me, that didn't make me happy, just to like look to everybody else like I was doing the right thing. But
right,
meanwhile, it's all the oxygen is being pulled out. So what does that do? It puts the fire out inside of you, right? So now you're not
right.
taking care of yourself. Your fire is burnt out. You have no energy. You're not happy. And how does that serve? Even if you're present 24/7, it doesn't matter, right? Like your kids can see that. And for me, it was always like, I want to put oxygen back in. I want to start putting oxygen in because my kids, when they see me happy, they see me
Right.
doing well, they see me thriving. I'm assuming that the people that love me should want to see me that way. So I'm
Right.
kind of like, aren't we supposed to be all sharing in this? So like we all feel good and like we're all happy and like we live in this reality where like we're all living our best lives. Like, isn't that the purpose?
Well,
It isn't about me just wait.
I always say if my friends are doing really well, it's good for me because they're going to be happier and way nicer to me. If people in my
100%.
life are happy and I support people authentically, and I don't come from a place of scarcity. We can all have success. We can all have beauty. We can all have this
Right.
and really support each other. And it's interesting because I had sort of a rough fall. A lot of stuff happened and we all have that. And I want to talk to you about the last couple of weeks in your life because they've been profound. But I went under for 3 or 4 months. I was like, not even like getting dressed. And, the stuff I used to put on to go out into the world. And I felt it is exactly what you said at the beginning. I was like, how am I treating myself right now that I am actually presenting myself? And I did feel confused. I felt chaotic. And this is a new thing for me. Usually I always make an effort.
Yeah.
But for a couple of months, I did not. And nothing flowed well from it because that's where my day started out.
And
And
that's where your head was, right? And
that's where my head
that's where
was
you were feeling, right?
and my value and my worth. And this
Yep.
premise that when we get up in the morning, fuck it, we're rolling out of bed. This is not self-serving. This is not vain. We are going to put ourselves together. I love that you make dressing a ceremony, like when you roll out in your little robe and you've got your
Yeah.
makeup and your special undies and everything.
Yes.
I'm like,
It's
this
me
woman's
time.
got her shit
Yes,
together.
like I'm like, that's me time. That's like non-negotiable to me. Like for me, there is a point where it's like, that's me time. That's my oxygen. That's what puts me in a good mood. That's what puts me in a positive headspace. That makes me handle everything and everyone else better. And like for me, that's just like, I deserve that too. And I think this is the thing that I think women forget, that like we deserve to feel happy too. And we deserve to look good, and and it doesn't take away from anyone else or from your family or from your success or from anything for you to take that time to feel well, like, and to look good. Because again, there is something in your brain. And I love that you said that, Mary Jo, that you said it isn't about the vanity, because again, I'm wearing head to toe Amazon right now. Like I genuinely
You
do
have
not
sold me
care
on
about the price.
Amazon.
I'm telling you, I don't care about the price tag. I just want to look good. And I think the excuse that we constantly use, that we can't afford it, I can't have it, I can't do this, I can't do this. I want to prove that again, it really is about the action you're taking. It is not
Yeah.
about the price tag. It is not about the label. It is about you getting up. That triggers your brain that you give a shit about you, that you
Yeah.
care. You're making time. So you're signaling to you, you're important. And for me, Mary Jo, for me, it's like every single day we make an effort to go to a wedding. We make an effort to go to an important meeting. If I'm going to get on Zoom with you, I'm doing my makeup, like I'm going to get ready. So if I told you like you're the special occasion, right? It's like your life, you waking up every day is the special occasion. Like, why aren't we getting dressed for it? Like, why would you ever want to look like shit all day? I don't
I
get it.
don't know. And
I don't know.
psychologically, it affects you so much. And by the way, that Amazon tracksuit that I ordered the two-piece. I've never worn a two-piece tracksuit, but
Are
in
you obsessed?
black.
Are you obsessed?
And number one, my wealthy Brentwood ladies were like, "Where is this Jenny Kane?" I'm like, "No, bitches. This is Amazon. This is
Oh,
$52 for a
yeah.
set."
And at the
Okay.
event, I was in a suit that was Amazon, that everyone stopped me. And then my bag, everyone thought it was Prada. It was Amazon. I
Yeah,
was like, let me tell you
Amazon.
something, bitches. We can look. I don't want anyone to have I want every woman, doesn't matter what you can and can't afford. It doesn't matter what, I want you to know that you have the opportunity to look fabulous. It does affect your mental health. It does affect how you treat people. It does affect how you feel. So imagine if you just make that little bit of effort every day. Imagine what that does for you, like making your bed, right? Like that one action that you take that really takes care of you trickles down to everyone else.
Well, first of all, it diminishes anxiety because as soon as
Yeah.
your feet hit the ground, you have like a program that you're going to get yourself up for the day. And by the way, I
Routine.
wore the Amazon tracksuit. My friend was here from Montana, and I wore like the bottoms and I like a really crisp white shirt and a nice
Yeah, I
wrap.
love that.
And she said you could wear heels with that, and I'm like, really? I had my
Why
Birkenstocks
not?
on, but I was just so comfy and so cozy. And exactly. And when I introduced you at the beginning, I said inclusive because you are inclusive. You have pieces that, the Annie Bings of the world and those
Yep.
beautiful brands, but
And if
then
you
you
can
can get
afford it, amazing. You can, if
right.
you can invest. I was somebody that used to, I would overspend, Mary Jo. Like I've been there. Like I wasn't great with finances. And the credit card can get you in trouble. Watching what all
Yeah.
your friends can have, having wealthy friends can get you in trouble. We've all overspent. We've all had that panic of like, oh shit, like that credit card bill and how are you going to pay it, or having to ask your husband, or scared that he's going to look. I hate that. Like scared that someone's going to look at the credit card. I'm like, I cannot live like that's how my mom
We've all
lived.
been there. We've all
We've
been
all
there.
been there. I'm saying
Yeah.
it, transparency. We've all been there. And there is nothing like that puts you in a horrible headspace. It creates horrible anxiety. I agree with you. It's like, how do you set yourself up for success each and every day? And that's what
Yeah.
you were saying, like having those tricks every single day, that routine every single day diminishes anxiety, takes away boredom, right? You know what to expect, you know what you're doing, you know it works. You've got your survival toolkit, your happy tools, and you use them every day. And I feel like that's why it's just so important to have and know what makes you feel good.
And it compounds. It's like compound interest. The more you do it, the better you get at it, the better you have an eye for what looks good on you and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
And this is something that people talk to me a lot about, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, actually, Mike, you're going to listen to this. I know you can't come in, but Jan Arden follows Caroline, is obsessed, who I interviewed. Okay, some of my favorite moments is when you put on your swimsuits and you zoom up on your cellulite, which I don't really see any, but I love that you get out there and you're like, ladies, please, because I wear a bikini, put a bikini on. It's, like nobody's
Come
going to
on.
notice you have cellulite on your left knee. Just like embrace
Nobody.
it. Go out there and be free and like you're prancing around. And that is kind of revolutionary because, and I consider you more than an influencer. I don't even like that term. I think it's deeper than that. But, nobody shows that. Nobody
Nobody
talks
shows it.
about that. And
Nobody
you
shows it.
do.
Yeah, and no
You
one pulls the
do.
curtain. I think I love pulling the curtain back because
You
I
can
feel like
tell.
I'm so sick of the bullshit. Like, to be honest with you, that is just the truth. I'm so sick of the curated perfection. I just feel like it's not serving women to lie about what's really going on behind closed doors. And I feel like all these years, everything's been a lie of what goes on behind closed doors. What you see is not necessarily what's going on. And for me, it's kind of like, I can't even tell you how many walks along the beach, how many like jumping into the
Yeah.
ocean, jumping off of things, like how many things I genuinely missed. I remember being with all my girlfriends a couple of years ago at Ojai Valley Inn, like we're all the girls. And I remember carrying the towel to the pool. Like I remember I didn't want to walk without the towel. And I'm like, what? A couple of dimples literally like has control over me, like control over
Yes.
how I'm feeling. It's destroying.
Where's it coming from? Where's it
I,
coming from?
and I don't know if it's like this perfection. I don't know if it's this idea of like that, you're not like we haven't normalized normal. And I'm like, when do we
Right.
normalize normal? Like normal lives, normal jobs, normal homes. Like again, like coming over for coffee, not having to go to Starbucks and pay $20. Like, could you come over and just have a coffee? Could we lie out by my pool? Like, when did normal not be cool anymore? And I really wanted to normalize where, like, yes, please hold your hand with your husband. Like at some point it gets annoying when you're that insecure to anyone. Like nobody wants to hear like, oh, I'm so fat. Like his poor mom, till this day, all she talks about is her thighs, her cellulite, and things like that. And I'm like, you're gorgeous. Like you are gorgeous. And she will have missed out on all of that. So I was literally like, you know what? Show it. Once you show it, no one can say anything. I'm like, that's why I'm like, say it all. No one can, no one can say anything. I ripped it off. I was like, you know what? It was the most freeing experience of my life. Like the more I showed it, the more comfortable, to the point where I was like walking around the house with a like as if nothing, with all my cellulite out. And the point that you say you don't say it is really the point. No one's
Yeah.
looking. You obsess, you see it. Everyone is too self-absorbed, self-obsessed. Everyone has their own shit. No one's staring, no one's looking. Yet we miss out on some of the biggest, most incredible, special moments over some dimples on your legs. Like it sounds insane.
Well, I know, but I have so many friends who do that. Like, it's so interesting to me that we do that to ourselves, that we actually sabotage ourselves and we
Yes.
actually don't take enjoyment of activities and things that we're doing because we're so conscious of our appearance or that extra 5 pounds. And maybe it comes down to we're supposed to be these perfect, creatures or whatever it comes down to. It's a horrible pressure. It can actually alter how you live your life. These things become
Completely.
huge obstacles for women.
And I
Huge.
feel like, wait, and Mary, can I be honest with you? I think it gives your
Yeah,
power away too. Honestly,
it
there's
does.
something about when you're constantly knocking yourself down, honestly, like you're in a home. I'm going to say it. I'm going to be transparent with you. Okay.
Go,
This
go.
annoys me. When women are constantly putting themselves down, like at some point, do you think your husband or anybody that you're dating or even your best friend, like wants to constantly hear, like, I'm so ugly, I'm so fat, like I'm so stupid, I'm so this, like at some point, like, I think, you know what, you want to scare the shit out of your husband and your kids, come down the stairs looking fucking fabulous. Come down the
Yeah,
stairs looking hot. And your husband's gonna be like, I'm sorry, where are you? What's going on? Where are you? What's happening? Like, I'm
yeah,
not kidding. You look like shit. You start becoming a fly on the wall. You look like shit. People start walking all over you. You look like shit. It looks like you've given up. It looks like you've given your power away. Other people start to think, oh, she doesn't care. Why should I care? I honestly think you're giving your power away by letting yourself go, by constantly putting yourself down. I feel like you're not serving yourself in any way. For me, I walk around thinking, yes, like I look great, I look fab, like I'm smart. Like I think you have to put that out into the world to have that respect. So
Well,
for
it's
me,
all energy. It's
it's
all quantum
energy.
physics, right? Like it's all
Yes.
the energy you point out. And listen, in this town, which is a freak show, I know a lot of beautiful women. They might dress like hookers, but that's, another thing.
Teach his
And
own. Yeah.
and they're the most insecure women. And then there's some women who might not be, classical beauties who have this aura and this
Yes.
presence and this
Oh yeah.
confidence, and they embrace, they eat, they wear like,
Yep.
whatever they want to wear. And there's just such a beauty in that. And the other night I went out for dinner with my friend to the Sunset Marquee, and I was going to
Ooh.
wear my usual outfit, my tight jeans and a little pump and a jacket. And I'm like, I just don't feel that tonight. But I
Yeah.
always present a certain way. And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? Again, I wore a slouchy sweater, like baggy pants, like
So
my
cute.
little
I
scarf.
love
I'm
that
into
look.
this whole classic thing with flats because I'm a tall girl. And I rolled in, I was comfortable. I felt elegant. I felt sexy. And it's so funny
You owned
because
it.
he's like,
You owned it.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's 15 years younger. He's hysterical. And he looked at me and he went, "You moisturize really well. Your skin is really hydrated." Because I had my hair pulled back in a ponytail and he wanted all my skincare tips. But
Oh my, I
I'm
love
starting to
that.
go in different ways in how I feel comfortable in the world because
Yes.
I've been wearing this uniform for so long. And now I'm like getting into areas where like, I love this space. Like I feel
Absolutely.
grounded, I feel powerful, I feel polished. This is where I want to reside. This is where I want
What
to
I
be.
find fascinating is the younger, when I talk to like, especially all my younger, incredible young women, that you are like the fear of 50, the fear of aging. And it's so funny because then they look at us and it's so funny. They're always like, wait, you make it less scary or you make it less. And I'm like, yes, like imagine I was like insecure at your age. I didn't know what I wanted at your age. Imagine being at an age where you actually know what you want, where you actually know how to get, where you actually know what the work it takes, where you actually, can ask for help, where you can humble yourself, where you actually are grateful. You actually understand the power of it. You understand, what that means and the purpose and feeling actually content. I was like, women in their 50s are unstoppable. I was like, we are as like 20s, 30s, 40s. I was like, I actually think 50s, 60s is the
And
hottest new
60s.
number. 60s. I'm done. I just was with Jody. I did this podcast, 62. I mean, hottest body I've ever seen. I was
Yeah.
like, what is happening? I'm like, I think we're just coming in so hot.
Yeah.
I like the word cougar now. I
I,
understand it now because I was like, we're
yeah.
so fucking hot. Like we're
We're
like we're like coming in and
we're
ready to kill. And
sizzling.
yes,
So
like
fucking hot. And actually, my poster for Senior Bitches is me in a bikini in Indonesia, crawling out
oh
of the
yes,
water, just covered in pearls. And I'm like, okay, I would sleep with me. This
yes.
is wonderful. But I feel like empowered by it. And again, we were just talking last week about, I was kind of, I'm not going to say whoring around LA. That sounds bad. But I was been dating, in my late
I'm
50s, hitting
intrigued.
60.
Yeah.
Well, that's off air, but I've been on dating sprees and I'm like, okay, I think sex in this part of my life is the best it's ever been. Aren't we? I
Isn't
mean,
it?
like
Isn't it funny now that like all
yes,
you're not ashamed anymore. Like you're not scared to
no,
ask for what you want. You're not shy. Like people think it's like it's funny. It's like reversal. It's actually you get hotter and more confident. It's crazy.
I think so. I think so. And a
I
lot
think
of my
so.
friends feel that way too. And so I love this space. And as you said, I mean, there's challenges and things we're going to navigate.
Yeah.
So here in your 50s, was there a moment when the switch went on for you when you're like, I'm not playing small anymore. And I acknowledge I'm in my 50s, but that's fucking okay. Because I feel
Oh yeah.
great. Was there like, can you remember or viscerally when that happened for you and you were like before and after? Were
There
you
really was, I mean, for me, that walking past that mirror was really my most significant. Like when my mom had a nervous breakdown, I get a phone call. My mom is screaming, hysterically crying. She's like, your dad has Alzheimer's. He hasn't paid the bill, the taxes. I don't know what to do. I don't know where the money is. I don't know where anything is. Like, what are we going to do? Who's taking care of him? Like,
Oh, that would do it. Yeah.
like freak out. And I remember
Yeah.
hanging up the phone, hand shaking. I was like, what is happening? Like the two most powerful people now have no power. They have no idea what they're doing. And I looked in the mirror and I remember just walking past the mirror. And I remember I just didn't recognize myself. Like I remember being like, who the hell is that? And I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck happened to Caroline? I was like,
Yeah.
where's the smiling Caroline? Where's the like happy Caroline? Where is like the adventurous, like fun, smart, capable? I was like, where's the one that looks fucking hot and cute and in her outfit? Like I was like, you look like a hot mess. I don't even recognize you. You don't even know where the money is. You're kind of falling into the same trap. Like, are you going to end up, I literally was like, when you look
Yeah.
at yourself in the mirror and it was like a
Yeah.
complete light switch went
That
on,
happened to me
huge awakening.
once. That
Is
happened
that
to
what
me
happened to you
once.
too?
Well, it was after my divorce and I had to move back to Toronto for a year or two because I got a job to support the family.
Right.
I got a TV show and a radio show and all that stuff. And I always missed California. I always wanted to come back, but I had to get on my feet and support the
Yeah.
family. And I was at somebody's house for dinner, a couple, of course, I was single and I was there. And we'd been drinking and having a hell of a lot of cheese. And that's all I'd been doing all winter. And I went into the bathroom and turned on the light and went, holy shit, I do not recognize that girl. I do not. Like, my face was kind of pasty and bloated. I'd had a lot of cheese, a lot of carbs.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't like this. I'm
No.
not doing this. I'm not
And
doing
it
this.
is
That
funny. I
was
feel
a
like it is
moment for
that
me.
moment. Yes, that it just was like, I was like, I literally will never forget like looking into my, and people think it's like I'm being kitschy or cheesy. Or it's like, no, it's like when you really focus in, because I think we ignore ourselves, right? You walk past that mirror,
Yeah.
you avoid that reflection. You don't want to know what you're really feeling. Most people don't want to deal. They don't want to have to do the work. They don't want to have to dig
Mm-mm.
deep. They don't have to be honest with themselves. So it is, you avoid that reflection. But when you fucking really look, when you take a deep look into your eyes and you don't recognize yourself, it is eye opening. It is such an awakening. And I was like, I don't like this. I don't like what I'm seeing here. I was like, we are changing as of today. And I remember being like, I'm bringing her back. I'm bringing back the best version of me. That's it. Caroline's coming back. Get ready, everybody. And that was
Yeah.
it. I was like, I'm going to get up. I'm going to get dressed. I'm going to start working out again. I'm going to start doing the things that I know I'm ignoring, but that I know make me feel good. And
Yeah.
I think
No.
women, we ignore. And I think that's where that oxygen mask on first, that light, like a fire. I constantly say, you're a fire. What burns the fire? What makes it bigger and brighter? What puts it out? And if you're
Right.
constantly putting oxygen, then it goes out. If you put some back in, you start to light up again. So I think it's just reminding yourself that it's not about, it's never, I believe in marriage. I do. Like, I am happily married. I believe in marriage. I believe in a happy home, happy kids. But I really believe that really stems from you being happy. And I
Oh,
do
of
believe
course.
the mom is the one that people ignore the most. And yet she really is the core. And I'm like, I watch moms at drop off. I watch moms at school, being like, hurry up, fix your hair, brush your teeth, like be presentable, like get your shit, you know what I mean? And meanwhile, they have curlers in their hair. They look like complete shit. They look like lunatics.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything. And I'm kind of like, when do we start changing that narrative? And when do we actually put our money where our mouth is? And like, when do we actually just take care of ourselves? When do we stop pretending that we have to do it all for it to be right?
Oh,
When do we
that's
let our
so
husbands help?
boring.
It's annoying. It's like enough.
It's
Like,
it's
it's
the
like,
narrative. I'm so over the narrative. When people
so
said
over
he's
it.
upset your kids are leaving, I'm like, is that a rhetorical question? Like, what do you mean? I want to be an empty nester. I worked my ass off for these kids.
Yes.
And the thing too is you and I have big personalities, and I would assume, I know at some points in my life I made myself small to fit into groups, a lot with women sometimes. I don't do that anymore because my friends are so kick-ass, but I would make myself small. I would make myself small around men. I would like always be pulling back. And now it's like, oh my God, why did I do that? Like, it's the
Me too.
exact opposite. I cannot be inauthentic. And again, the inside out, right? That's
Yes.
why you glow. Your beauty, obviously it's external, but you can tell. And I had this question for you, but you kind of answered it. And it was like, where does your joy come from? Was it earned, or are you bred in the bone that way? Are you a predisposition to being happy and joyful, or do you work on that?
I'll tell you two things. One, I do think that I was born somewhat, like where my mom can be a little bit, my mom was definitely a very complicated human.
Your
My
mom's
mom's
beautiful. Your mom
Thank
is
you so
beautiful.
much. Thank
Yeah, she's
you. And
beautiful.
she's incredible and she's an incredible human. She's been through so much. I will never understand her sacrifices and what she's been through. But truthfully, you look at her and you're like, it's so hard. I feel so, it's just like it's so
Yeah,
emotional because like you look at this woman who's so, who made every decision, who, at the end of the day, really we had everything we had because of her. And yet
right,
she doesn't even feel capable. Like she doesn't even think she knows how to do anything. She doesn't know how to take care of herself. Like she doesn't know. And you're watching it and you're watching it unfold. And it can be extremely overwhelming because I feel like I have a first row seat to aging. And I'm watching my own demise. Like I'm watching what happens to you day by day. It is like
right.
insane watching it all. And it really makes you just so aware of everything that's happening. And it's just been an incredible thing. And I know I'm off topic. I'm sorry. I just got distracted because just seeing my mom in the last couple of days, and I know Mary Jo, we've been talking about this, but
Yeah,
just it's just proof of like what brings you to life, no
yeah,
matter what age, no matter what time in your life, there is always an opportunity for you to be happy and to make that choice. And I think for me, it is a personal choice every day. That's something that my husband and I, we had literally a conversation saying, no matter what situation we're in, no matter what is happening, our perspective will always be to choose happy in whatever situation we're
absolutely.
in. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like whatever is happening, like just choose the happy choice, like whatever that is. So I do make a choice to, give myself a few, like if I'm having a hard time, I will give myself a deadline. I don't want to sit in it. I don't want to live in it. I do feel like we all have to feel what we're feeling. I am all about letting it out, feeling your emotions, but I do feel like okay, cry for a day or two, but then like you got to get back up. You got to like get in control. So for me, I do feel like I work at it every day to make those choices. I do feel like grew up in a household where there wasn't a ton of happiness. And I did feel like I
right.
was the one to kind of make sure I was trying to keep everybody happy. So I was that kind of happy kid. I was, definitely the one that was always smiling. I'm usually in a good mood. Like I really don't I really like to be happy. I do. I've always been the happy kid, fun to be around. Like I love to smile and laugh and travel and have fun. But yes, can I get into moods? Can it all get too overwhelming? Can it all be too much? Sometimes it is. And that's where that perspective and that choice comes in. And I have to actively work at it. I do.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I've learned. I'm studying with this really amazing woman and we go through all this stuff, but obviously it's an inside job,
Yeah.
your authentic happiness and everything, and to choose. You're not a victim in
It's
your
like you
life.
really realize that no one can buy it. You realize like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
all like break our asses for the things you can't buy. We want to make so much money, but you can't buy respect, you can't buy love, you can't buy time, and you can't buy the work that you have to do for yourself. Like, you can't buy loving yourself. Like that is the work that unfortunately you do have to do for yourself. And you have
Well,
to be
there's no
honest,
shortcut.
there's no
There's no
shortcut.
shortcut to
There is
it,
no
right?
shortcut.
So, and the whole thing is if you're coming from the victim perspective, forget about it because you're always coming from a place of scarcity. So there's such empowerment when you move into the next spot, which is like you said, and I believe this, you choose. I mean, you can't obviously control external things, but when it
Yes.
comes your way, you make the choice, like you curate and create your own life. So and that's what drew me to you and what you're doing, because I think it's so essential and universal and so needed. And um,
And I just want people,
I'm
Mary Jo, I want women to know that like you can always start, like honestly, I think there's this, I want women to know like you can. Like I did not know how to start like I did not know any of the technology. I did not know any, like I was literally driving back and forth to school. I was volunteering in the art room.
I know that
Okay,
rule,
I know
the drop
I mean,
off. I
literally, I was
know
sitting
it.
on the couch, like
Yeah.
waiting for pickup. Like I wasn't doing
Yeah.
anything, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. I was like pressing a button like this to my husband works for me. I support the entire family. I'm running the entire company. Like you know what I'm saying? So, and this isn't, so don't tell me you can't. I didn't even know how to open the computer. Like literally didn't
Yeah.
know. And like I now make more than he did. So it's like, women are incredible and we give away our power. I don't know why. We can't, like, I don't know, money controls you. I don't know why we think we need somebody else to take care of us, why we think we need somebody else's money. You know what I mean? To me, it's always like I would rather have the power always. So for me, I'd rather do the work always. I wasn't taught that, but that's what I want to teach.
Well, it comes down to it. I mean,
It really
because you can
does.
have everything in the world. And again, we talked about this. If you're not okay inside, if there's some big disconnect about how you feel inside and what you're projecting to the world, even though you could have money and beauty and all this stuff, I see it in this town all the time. They're the most miserable people in the world and they have everything because they
Everything.
haven't done like the inside work and like figured that
Exactly.
out, which is totally essential. And fear gets in the way of everything.
Everything.
Because we the inertia and we get paralyzed and basically you just have to push through it. And again, these are choices and obstacles and life experience that get us to a place in life that, we have the wisdom and the joy of life because we understand every storm runs out of rain, like things are
Yeah.
going to ebb and flow. And so this whole thing that's happened to you over the last few weeks, I'm actually going to see my mom in Toronto next week who's turning
Oh,
87. And
oh, good for
my
you.
mom is my best friend.
The
And my
best, but
parents are
you know.
I know, baby, and 87 and 89. So I woke up couple of nights ago, and I'm like, I got to get the fuck out of here, get on the plane, and I'm going to go see her. And that's just the
Good
way
for
it is.
you.
And you know, I watch, obviously I'm galvanized by you every day, and I'm watching in the outfits, and I'm on
Love you.
Amazon and all Caroline's websites, going through all this stuff. And then I see, you know, and you know, you lost your dad. And I'm like, holy shit. And you live streamed it like the Truman Show. So you're at your house, you know what, and then the next moment you're like, you guys, and your suitcase and I know that feeling. And then, you know, you arrived in Miami, and I watched that whole thing. And like I said at the beginning of the show, the premise, this isn't just about what you're going to wear during the day. This is about a whole attitude of life, the beauty and the mess, and you embrace that, which I love. And to watch you live stream your grief and what you were going on with your mommy and everything was just, and your family, and how brave you were to do that. That was other level, Caroline.
I mean, honestly, I think why it was so important to me, and thank you for saying that about seeing, you know, having it be a live stream, because I thought it was so important to show the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like, I think for me, I think only showing, you know, that everything is perfect, that everything is curated, that like you never cry, you never have a hard day, like nothing ever happens to you, I think is such a disservice again to women, because I think women are constantly trying to keep up. We're constantly comparing ourselves. We are constantly trying to like live up to the Joneses or keeping up to like a society's pressures. And I think showing a live reel of the shit show that really goes on, that I think we all feel. I don't think there's a single woman that doesn't feel stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, like it's a total shit show, or that like some days you feel like you just want to like jump in your car and run away and get on a flight and never come back. There are days that you think you can conquer the world. And I wanted to show the reality of the situation and the reality of our family. And there's people who, you know, criticize and say like, I'm doing it for the cameras, or I'm crying for the
Oh
camera, or that
God.
like I take over, you know, that like I don't care about my parents, I always throw them under the bus. And I'm like, I go, so telling the truth now is throwing you under the bus? Like telling you, like being honest about what really happened in my life is now like, that's, I can't tell the truth. Like it was funny. I was fascinated that people were so uncomfortable with real, and so uncomfortable with
Mhm.
like real life, and having to deal with like actually maybe their own, looking at like, have I called my parents? Have I seen my parents? Like, what am I going to do? Like, what, you know, you start to face things. And I think that's why people want to see this curated, perfect thing, so that you can escape into this bullshit bubble. And I'm all about living in reality. I'm all about being prepared, understanding, because like I want to live. I want to feel good every day, like not live in some bullshit, you know, live up to some bullshit. So for me, I wanted to show that real life moment of holy shit, like I know it looks perfect to you guys all the time, and I'm up and I'm getting dressed, but there's also like, oh my God, like my dad just passed away. I'm not gonna be able to, like, you know, he died. I wasn't able to make it. I'm not gonna be able to see him. There's so much unfinished business there. You know, you kind of like, you forget what that all brings to you. And it brings up so much emotion, and you face your own, you know, your own aging process and your mom and everything they went through. And all of a sudden I was kind of like, the tears were flowing. All of a sudden it was just like I felt so much, and what am I going to do with my mom now, and realizing like now she's scared, she's left alone, and like we can all face that. That's all of us. Like we're looking at ourselves really when you're looking at your mom crying, you know. And it was just this eye-opening experience of, you know what, maybe if I can show a little compassion, if I can show, you know, that even in the hardest of times we can still show up for ourselves, that even in the hardest of times we can still choose to be happy, like even in the hardest of times, you know, we can still you know, decide to survive and not give up. Like for me it's like, you know, I'm not going to just lay down and die. Like I'm not going to show my mom that life's over. I'm going to show her that yeah, this is really fucking hard, but you know what, we're also really fucking strong, and we can do hard things, and we keep getting up. That's what the human spirit does. We keep getting up and we don't give up. And I was like, and for me, her red lipstick is like her lifeline, you know, for my mom.
Yeah.
Like when she isn't wearing it, I know something's wrong, which just goes to show you why the premise of all of this is so true. Because the second she's not wearing her lipstick, I'm concerned. I'm like, what's wrong? Are you okay? Are you not feeling well? And it's like, it's just fucking red lipstick, but it says something about how she's feeling. It does. And I think
Right.
women, we always are showing how we're feeling. It's, is anyone paying attention? I don't know, but
Probably
we
not.
are,
Right.
right?
And
It's
also
so true.
and also that situation, you can't win with people because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Always.
And the most important, profound thing that you did with your parents and the whole thing as you were going through it is you were like, listen, you were honest. Like, I think I had a complicated relationship with him. I think my mom had a like, but now all of a sudden everything's perfect. So is that the rear view mirror? And for us in this age group, in 50s and
Yeah.
60s, we probably had young parents. This is what
Yep.
we're coming up against. And, oh my gosh, this is really interesting. I'm just figuring
Yeah.
this out. This is like
Tell me
aha moment,
what?
Oprah. Your live streaming made me book a ticket to go to my mother's birthday
Yes,
party, your
that was the
87th
point.
birthday. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
because I
That's the
saw so much of you in me with my dad because it's such a complicated mess,
so
beautiful
complicated.
mess. And
Yep.
when you were doing that, I was like, oh, that's right. It's so weird. It's just coming to me. And I made the reservation and I'm going to go see her. Last time I was in Toronto, it was really complicated. This time it's all about her. I'm just, there's no confrontation. It's just about her.
No.
Whatever she wants, we're
Yep.
going to do it. My brother's going to come too. But that whole thing that you did was so profound and so
That
brave,
means a lot. Thank you. I really,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
was, you know what, like we all have such, we've all grown up with so much. And like we've all, I forgot that, like, there was a quote that I heard that like even your mom is living for the first time too. And I think we forget that our moms are experiencing things and going through life. And now as a mom, now as a wife, seeing how hard marriage is, seeing how hard kids are, seeing how hard life really can be, the sandwich years, taking care of your parents, your kids, your husband, your home, and you have your own goals and dreams that you want to accomplish. Like it is a lot, it is overwhelming. And we kind of realize it's just like one step at a time, one day at a time. We're doing the best we can. All we can do is get up and get dressed every day and just be prepared and just choose happy and try to make the best of each and every day. Like I genuinely think, like, you want to know what total success is to me? Success to me, what I used to think was a plane, Chanel bag, Hermes, a trip to Europe. It's so funny. Success to me, total success is literally being happy in my own little life. Like waking up content, waking up happy, not constantly trying to escape, not constantly trying to run away, actually just feeling good in my skin every day is to me total success. Like genuinely.
Well, not only have you succeeded, you're inspiring all of us to do the same. So
That means so much. It means so
oh,
much. And I want to show
you
Mary,
are.
like, honestly, my mom, it went from when I picked her up and it's like, I will double down on this. I will double down because going from I'm dying tomorrow, like she
Yeah.
looked like she walked out of a cave. Like, I'm not joking. The nails, the hair, like she looked crazy and like she maybe was going to die tomorrow. To last night, she was dancing the salsa. She kicked her leg up. She was hysterically laughing. She has a red lipstick on. She's fully dressed. She's covered in jewels and is walking around laughing. And I'm like, what is that? Her pills haven't changed. Her medication didn't change, just her environment
Right.
and her feeling seen, loved, her, and respected. That's it. Like, and she just is getting up and getting dressed. So it's
Well,
like,
take
what
a
that
little
does for you.
credit. Her daughter should take a little credit for that transformation because I'm
Thank
sure
you.
you've given her love and understanding and support. So I've loved talking to you today. I could do this once a month, check in with
Oh
you.
my
I'm going to do
God,
a panel of
anytime.
really cool women, so I'd love to have you
Yes,
on.
I would love
Um,
it.
I would love it. You're an absolute joy. And for your final question today, and thank your husband, John, because he came in, he looked a bit stressed, but he pulled this shit off. So we're giving him a high five.
He's used to
This
the
is
stress.
yeah. He's just, and then he's like, okay, good, I got it done. My last question for you today is, what is your mantra, and has it changed as you've gotten older, or has it remained the same?
I think it has changed in the sense, I think for now, I think my mantra every single day, to the point where we've trademarked it because I think it actually is just the statement for me is get up, get dressed, let's do this. And there is something about getting up because for me, it's always about that personal independence, about not depending on anybody else. No knight in shining armor is coming to save you. No one's knocking on the door. Like it is that reflection should scare the shit out of you in the mirror. That is the superhero that's coming to save you. Like that's the knight in shining armor. Like there's no one else coming.
Oh, that's
That's you.
good. That's a super, I'm writing that
Okay.
down. I'm going to
Literally. So when
copyright
you look
that
in the
one.
mirror, like you better respect her. You better like her. You better be proud of her. You better admire, you better think she's badass because that's who's coming to save you. Your reflection.
You are so
So
right. You're like 9,000,000% right on that one.
9 million. So to me, it's
Yeah.
like when you see that, what is that? So for me, it's always about making that effort, never giving up on you. The getting up is about you taking control, you being in your own power, you standing on your own 2 feet. Dress means you give a shit about yourself, self respect, take care of yourself. Like you come, oxygen mask on first. Let's do this is the positive thing that you say to yourself. Because rather than I can't, I don't know, maybe I have to do this, let's do this, to me is that positive statement that you're going to get it done. You
You're
got
gonna
this.
get it
Let's
done.
do this. You're going to get it done.
Fall in love with yourself. It's the best thing in
Yes.
the world, and be your
Best
own
thing in the
advocate.
world.
It's the best thing. Well, you've
Greatest gift.
inspired us. And after this interview, I got dressed up for you. I wore a little slip dress and a little
You look
leather
so
jacket.
cute. You
I'm
look
going to get in my
amazing.
Amazon tracksuit, and I'm going to go see my son for dinner. We're watching the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City,
Of
the finale.
course.
These girls are a shit show.
I mean, shit
So
show in the best way.
oh my God, I can't stop laughing at any of it.
Can't
So we're
wait.
going to go do that tonight. But it's been an absolute joy having you on, and my best to your mom. And,
Thank you.
I send you condolences, but it looks like
Thank
you're
you.
surrounded by tons of love and joy. So thank you for stopping by Senior Bitches today.
Love you so much. Thank you. Hope to meet you one day and hug you real tight. Thank you for having me.
100%, 100%.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.